G'day friends, welcome to our Facebook Live. I hope I'm in the right group. I'm just going to check to see if I am actually in the right group. So let's have a look. Yep, I think I am. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to create 3 cards and we're stepping them up each time, okay? And we're going to be using, vintage tool stamp set, the vintage tool stamp set. I think this is a nice set and it can be used for all occasions, male or female. So we're going to do a male set and then I'm actually going to show you a female set. Now I've also, because I'll have my head down colouring, I probably won't see your comments, so please bear with me while I sort of get this sorted. Okay, so we're going to actually use a little piece of our masking tape and we're going to be using, first up, all the cards will have basic black, very vanilla, crumb cake and the light crumb cake Stampin' blend. So not much product, but ones that you can use over and over again to use the to get the effect. I haven't. I thought I had inked up. Put some of the images on to blocks, so just bear with me. 1, 2, 3, and then this one 4. Okay, so we're gonna grab our, I think this piece of Very Vanilla. Hi Kathy, how are you? G'day Ruth, how are you? So I'm just going to check to see if this is the right piece. And I'm going to sit down for this, so I hope you can see it. And what we're going to do first is we're actually going to mask off an area in the centre of our cardstock, or you can have it anywhere you like. So it's entirely up to you. And if it's not straight, don't stress. Just pretend that's the look you were going for. When I use my masking sheet, I will put the backing back on and I reuse it over and over again. So now what we're going to do is bring in our Memento black ink. Okay. Then we're going to select some images. So I've got all our images and we're going to randomly stamp. So we'll do the hammer first. We're just going to ink that up. And I'm going to stamp over the masking sheet so that I've got part of the hammer at the top and part of the hammer at the bottom. And I tend to press just that little bit harder when I'm using, when I'm masking off, so that I don't have any blank spaces in between, and we'll do one more, and we'll just do just like that. Yep. So we'll put that away. Then we're going to use our chisel, stamping it just like that, just randomly. It doesn't have to be perfect, just like that. And then we're going to use this little one. I forgot what this is called, but we're going to use this little image. When you're doing masking and images like this, just make sure you do stamp part of your image onto your mask. You'll give it more effect that way. Then we're going to bring in our pliers, and we'll stamp one there. We might do one there. We might do another one in like that. Then what we're going to do is get our nails, and we're just going to fill up some of the gaps. And I rotate my image so that I'm not having it the same direction all the time. And that'll do. Then what I'm going to do, before that I take the mask off, I'm going to grab our light crumb cake, Stampin' Blend, and I'm actually going to just quickly colour a couple of the images. I'm only using light only because the shading is all done on the image, so I'm just going to use the light and just pretend I've done the shading. I always use my nib end, everyone's different. We'll do this little one, and we'll do this. And we'll just do that section there. Oops, sorry, my big buff head's in the way. And this one, I'm going to leave the pliers. And I think that's all we'll do. Okay, then what we're going to do is carefully remove our masking sheet. Just so that we don't tear our cardstock. And I'm going to bring in, whoops, the backing. And I'm just going to stick that on again, just like that, and it's ready to use again. Then what we're going to do is we're going to ink up our sentiment in Memento Tuxedo Black, and I think I will use Build In Some Time for Yourself. Okay, now I always stamp onto scrap paper first, just so I know I've got it straight. That looks pretty straight to me. So fingers crossed that this is straight. You could always use your, I'm just going to bring it down here. So I might be off camera for a bit. You could always use your Stamparatus if you're not too sure or not confident enough. And that's done. So then what we're going to do is bring in our crumb cake piece and we're going to layer it onto our crumb cake, making sure all our edges are nice and straight, which is why I like the adhesive. Then we're going to bring in our base card, which is the basic black. And if I forgot my bone folder, I just burnish it with my thumbnail. You could use a ruler if you wanted to. And we're just going to stick that to that like that. How easy is that? Then what we're going to do, you've got to have a matchy-matchy inside. I've got another piece of crumb cake, very vanilla. And that's all I'm going to do. And I might just, that's dark. Oh, that's hard too. Just colour this little bit. And we'll stick this to the inside. Just like that. So that is our first card. So that's the card we just did, and that's the original. So very, very similar. The only thing that's different is probably where I've placed the images, but that's okay. Okie dokie, so that's number one. And I've got a wider border around, that's all right. So we'll get on to number two. Again, again, they're all very easy, and all I've done is stepped them up. Just that tiny little bit. Okay, now I'm going to make this a tent fold, but we're going to go landscape. Okay, just for a little bit of a different fold and a different look. So we'll just fold that, burnish that in half, put that aside. Now, this one I've got a panel on it, and what we're going to do, I'll just bear with me. We're going to bring in our Simply scoring tool. Now, you could use your paper trimmer if you like, but I like my scoring tool. And what we're going to do is score this piece of cardstock every 1/4 of an inch. Okay. If you don't have a scorer, just use a ruler in your bone folder. But I think most trimmers have got them on the trimmers now. Then what we're going to do, right? So can you see that? That just takes away the blank look of a piece of cardstock. You could also randomly stamp onto this piece if you wanted to, but we're just going to keep it plain. You could also, once you're stamped onto it, you could emboss it or score your lines again over the top of it. And then we're just going to stick this to this piece, just like that. Okay. So hoping that's nice and straight. Then what we're going to do is we're going to then stick this piece. I want to make sure it's the right size. Then we're going to stick this piece to here. Okay. As I said, they're very easy cards, but they can be stepped up. You could use DSP if you wanted to. There's a lot of choices, and it's entirely up to you how you do them. Now I'll have all the measurements and everything in our group so that you can recreate them if you want. Now I'm just going to get our paper trimmer. Actually, I won't. Just bear with me. I'm just going to chop this with our scissors. I hope that's straight. Yep. Okay, so that's that piece. Then what we're going to do is, I think what we'll do is, I think we will stamp the images instead of stamping and cut them out. I just going to put this here because that's going to be where my sentiment's going to go. And what we're going to do, grab our images. So we're going to use this little one again, this little devil. Oops, I better put that even. Okay. And I'm just going to bring this down a little bit so that I know it's straight. That's that. Then we'll use our pliers. Yep. And then, now I'm using the same images over and over, but you could change your images to what you wanted and use all different types. Oops. Just make that nice and straight. Stamp that. Then again, just cover that ink pad up. Once again, I'm going to grab our light crumb cake. And I'm just going to lightly colour my images. Now when I colour, I tend to flick just with my wrist. You don't have to be very careful colouring this image, because as I said, all the shading's done for you. Okay, then what we're going to do is, What happened to my panel? Oh, it's I've stuck it on. I'm just going to trim this up a bit, it's annoying me. Then we'll bring in our crumb cake. But before we do that, I'm just going to stamp some nails. Gotta have nails, just to fill in a little bit of gap. That's it, and that's it. Oops. Just like that, having a small gap around it, a small edge border showing. Okay, then we're going to stick this to our basic black cardstock, base card, making sure that the opening's the right way. You'd be surprised how many times I do it and it's the wrong way. So all those cards, the wrong way, upside down, all go to my family. And they don't say boo. There you go. Then we're gonna, I've already stamped a piece of cardstock for the inside. We're going to put this on the inside, just like that. Just smooth that down, making sure it's nice and straight. And then what we're going to do is our sentiment. So we'll just grab a scrap piece of cardstock. And we're going to use It's Your Day, okay? So that's what we're going to use. This is it here. It's Your Day. So I'm just going to bring this down here so that I know that I've got it stamped straight. Just stamp both onto scrap first. Oh yeah, that's real straight. That's better. Yeah, that's real straight. Let's try again. See, I'm prepared. Crikey. I'm not doing it very well. This is when you need your stamparatus. See, now why can't I do that straight? Let's do over the other side. what we're going to do is we'll just trim this side a little bit. Just on a slight angle, not too big of an angle. That's taken me longer than the whole card to do. Then we're going to bring in a couple of dimensionals. Oops, sticky little devils. And we're just going to stick that in that space right there. Just there, so that it's nice and straight. What I might do though, I might actually trim a little bit. Oops. There. And that is our second card. Okay. I'll get the rubber onto that later. So that is our second card, and this is the original one I've done. Now I actually stamped these, coloured them and fussy cut them out and then stuck them on here, but I thought to give it a different look we would just stamp straight onto the cardstock, and I quite like that actually. So that's number 2, and I've got ink on there too. I'll try and get those off. So now what we're going to do is card number 3. Now again, it's very similar, but we're stepping it up once again. Okay. So again, I've used the long landscape long side instead of portrait, and I'm just going to burnish that down the middle in half, and instead of going this way we're going to go tent style. Okie dokie, just for a different look. Now we're going to bring in our very vanilla, and again I've got the scored panel which I've already pre-done. Okay, and we're just going to do that. We're just going to stick this to our crumb cake. Now, as I said, you can emboss this. You could stamp this panel. You could stamp it, emboss it. You could stamp it and score it. You could use DSP. Lots of options. So that's what we're going to do there. Now, before we stick this down, what we're going to do, just to make it a little bit different and more stepped up, we're going to grab our nails and we're just going to randomly stamp over our cardstock. I'm not going to worry too much about down the middle here because you're not going to really see that. So put that aside so I don't get ink everywhere. Now I'm not cleaning my stamps in between using them, only because I'm using the same excuse me, the same colour all the way through. And then all we're going to do, is put that down there like that. Now, if I didn't have enough coverage down the sides, I would then redo or add more nails. So we're just going to stick that down there. Lining it up so that I know that I've got it straight. Just like that. Yep. And then we're going to stick this to our base card. Okay. Just like that. If you wanted to, you could add an additional layer of crumb cake if you wanted to, but I'm just going to leave it like it is. And while we're gluing things in or down, I'll do the inside at the same time, just so it matches. Okay, just like that. Smoothing that over. And that's our card nearly done. Now we're going to bring in a small piece of Very Vanilla. If I can pick it up. So that's our small piece of Very Vanilla. We're going to stick this to a small piece of crumb cake. Okay. Just like that. So that's nice and even all the way around. There you go. Then what I've done is I've already pre-done all this. So I actually stamped a couple of images onto scrap Very Vanilla. And I've coloured it again with our crumb cake blend. And what we're going to do now is we're just going to add little bits of glue. Just like that. Pick that up. Making sure it's nice and straight. Stick that one down. Then we're going to stick this one down, same way. Okay. Having tweezers would probably help here, but that's all right. We can manage. And turn this around. Oops. That's straight. Can't think of the name of this little devil. And then we'll grab our chisel. And we're going to do the same. The glue comes out. We'll turn it on its side. Oops. That looks straight. If you wanted to, you could have those all in a straight line, either lining them up along the top or along the bottom, but I don't really care, it doesn't really matter, and I'm not fussed. Then we're going to grab some dimensionals, and all we're going to do is put a couple down the right side, only because I want to put a little bit of glue on the left side, because we're going to, have I done that right? No, that's wrong. So ignore what I just said. Okay, we're going to put the dimensionals down the right side and the glue down the left side. You can tell I'm very good at left and right. Just like that. Okay. And that's our little panel. Just get these little bits off. That's that. And then comes the dreaded stamping with our sentiment. And I think I will use the same sentiment, it's your day. I've got a piece here, maybe I should have 4 pieces to practice on. That's crooked. You can feel it sometimes as soon as you put it down. See, I told you we should have 4 pieces. Just bear with me. Obviously, I'm not holding my tongue right. Maybe I should have stood up for that. That's pretty good. Then what we're going to do, same thing, I'm just going to shape this end just a little, just on a slight angle. Okay. And we'll chop a little bit of this away so that it's nice and straight. Yep. And we're going to put a little bit of glue on the left side and a couple of dimensionals on the right side, because we're going to put this down the same way as we did our panel. Okay, so that just goes, I might put that up there like that, just like that. Push that down a bit, and that is our third and final card. So that's the original, and this is the one we've just done. Very simple, very basic. Okay, so we'll bring them in again. That's 3, 2, and one. Okay, so that's them there. But as I said, I've also got another set that I created for the female. Same layer, same everything, except I've changed the colours, and I've used Smoky Slate as the base card, and the stamping, and I've coloured the images with, I think it's polished pink. Yeah, polished pink. Okay, so that's those two there. Then this is this one. Again, all very the same. Okay. And then there's this one. All the same, except I've just changed the colours around. Very easy, very simple. And I've got a lot of marks on them. Okay, well, I hope you've enjoyed that. I know I have, and I apologise for forgetting yesterday. Completely slipped my mind. I've been about 2 days behind all week, and we'll have another one probably the beginning of each month. Okay, thanks for everyone. Enjoy your day. See ya. Hooray.